Welcome to Dell's Rigging and Crane Tips, a 2021. Yeah, yeah. You thought I was gone, man. You thought I was gone. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not. I'm not.
I'm not fucking leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving. No, I'm back, man. Bro, having a 1-year-old kid over my holiday was something in itself. If you have kids, you'll probably understand. If you've ever stayed at home and looked after a kid, a 1-year-old, full time for 6 weeks, it done my head in. Mrs. had to work all December full time, so I had to look after the kid and then do some landscaping around the house. So trying to do projects with kids, man, you just got no time for anything. So I've been out of action. Sorry, guys, but I'm picking myself up, I'm dusting myself off, and I'm ready and I'm excited for 2021. I'm back at work, so I've got free time. I'm at camp. I'm in my donger at the moment, so I thought, look, great time. I don't have my daughter here to look after, so let's do some crane tips. So it's good to see you guys. 2021, Brothers of the Hook, aayeayah. Now, I guess let's start off with a good old crane accident, eh? So I'll make myself smaller. Stay over here and we'll get into it. So this is one. This is one here. We'll watch it together. All right. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Down the stinker, man. Down the stink. Now, I don't even know what this is about. This spreader bar system here. Like, what the heck is going on there? I haven't seen something like that. I'm guess it's I've seen something like that for like grain bags, like 4 bags on a smaller scale. I haven't seen that anything like that for lifting. Now, if we want to go back and just do some technical analysis, we hooked up a digger. We hooked it up just on the tracks and obviously off each 4 point of this spreader bar. Now, it's just on the tracks. You've got most of the boom and the bucket over the front. You can tell it's leaning to the front. It's not a very good spot. And you've got slings there too. Slings on the tracks. Slings on metal, rough stuff, which are awkward, aren't really a good idea. I know we're Monday's experts here. I know I wasn't there. I don't know what the riggers are thinking. It's easy for me to have a look at this and go, oh yeah, this is what they're doing wrong. I think up here with the chains here, it looks like a debacle. Like just, shorting up chains everywhere. But down here, slings just on the tracks. If anything, you want to point, you want to sling around the boom up the point so it just can't go anywhere. You know what I mean? Usually on these diggers, they have lifting points on them, specific ones. I've always lifted one. So I've always lifted these 3 points, like 2 off the back and 1 on the boom. Or you can go 2 at the front blade, but it just seems like they've just gone side to side on the tracks and all the weight's just pushed through the front. Now, it does have a counterweight, so you'd think that would mean something, but maybe the chains Maybe these two back ones are too short, it looks like. Look, the spreader bar's already on the piss, so who knows? Yeah, anyway, on to the next one. Here's one more look at it. Alright, we'll do one more sneaky look. There's that one. Here's another view. See, well, we'll go back. And so it was already on the piss. You know, it seems like the slings here are on a mad angle and these ones are straight. It seems like it was always front heavy. It looked like, I mean, like it looks like they had the opportunity when they had it on the ground to get it straight, but they took it down there on the piss. So, like I said, Monday's experts. So, yeah, we'll watch it drop again. Looks like slings, man. Has to be. Yeah. Oh. Laters. Later, bruh. Later, bruv. Later, bruv of the hooks. Laters. Yeah, so anyway, we'll do a few of those each time on this Monday update. Man, I'm a big fan of the UFC, so Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor today. I think if I was going to bet my house on it, I think I'd bet Conor McGregor in the first or second round. Anything after that, I'm going Dustin Poirier. So if you're going to bet, I'd put my money on Conor, man. So Conor all day. He's looking in shape and fit. Also, Bitcoin, man, it's boosted. If you're into Bitcoin, boosted since January. So it's just going up and up. Good thing about Bitcoin, not like stocks, is you can just chuck $100 in and see where it goes. You don't have to buy one complete stock. So if you want to make some gains in the Bitcoin world, put some money in, bruvs. Now, what I want to talk about today is managers and workplaces. Managers and workplaces. So, and I guess a little bit of mentality as you go into workplaces. So I've been in a lot of workplaces. I've been in a lot of companies because half the time I reach the ceiling, so I get to the highest crane and I've done all the work there that they can give me, and I'm like, I need to move on, man. Like I'm not getting anywhere here, so I move on. Other times I've moved on is because I hated the place, so I was just like, man, I got to get out of here. And yeah, those are the two main reasons. But managers make it, and so if the manager sucks, your life sucks at that crane company. And if the manager's good, it makes it good. But here are some tips on how to control your position and your look to a manager. Alright, so the thing with most managers, good or bad, is they don't want to keep having to answer your questions, or they don't want to have to keep babying you. They don't want to have to do everything for you. There are some managers out there who are micromanagers, and that's what they want to do. But for the most part, they just want to tell you your job and for you to go do it and to not bother them. And that's good for them. You still need to make a rapport with them, catch up every day and see how they're going. But because you don't want to be too distant that if anyone says anything about you, you can't defend yourself or you don't know, and people can just make up anything, and you don't want to talk to anyone, so they can say whatever they want. You know what I mean? So you don't want that, but you don't want to be a hassle for them. So, great thing to do, one thing to do is get all the information you can once. So, if in the morning you go into the job office and they give you the job, you get the radius, you get the load, you get the what you're lifting, what, who, when, how, and you get as much information as you can, and then you go away with your riggers, and then you work it out. You don't try and work it out there with the manager, because then you're asking them this question: oh, where do we do this? Oh, what sort of rigging? And then you open yourself up to look like you don't know what you're doing, because if you ask too many questions, he assumes that you don't know what you're doing. And that, yeah, so if you're asking too many questions and then you're looking vulnerable, I mean, he might not think that, but there's a good chance he would. And then you're going over, just having questions, nutting out the job, and then it's just all too much. So what you need to do is you need to grab all the information off him for the job and go away, and you've got you and your two riggers or one rigger to bounce off. So you can go over the load. You've got the load there. You've got all the information on your notepad, or your job sheet or your job card, and you work it out without him there. And then all he sees is a competent rigger or a competent driver, crane operator, grabbing the information and heading off and doing the job. And he doesn't see all this, you're not a hassle to him. You're not asking him 50 questions, because he's got another 10 guys that he needs to organise. So the least hassle you can be to him, the better standing you will have with him. Body language is good too. Not looking scared or confused, or like, maybe he'll have a terminology that you don't know and you go, oh, and having this stupid face on your look. Always look calm, collected, and nod. And if you don't know a terminology, when you get back to your crew, your little rigging crew, if he says something like a swift lift or a come along, if you don't know what a come along is, ask your mates what that is. Don't ask him, because he's going to be like, oh, well, how come you don't know what that is? Oh, he must be incompetent. So what you need to do is you need to do it the smart way. Get all the right information, everything for the job. Like I said, where it is, what it is, how it is, what rigging you need, or, just the raw information that you need. And then go away with it and work it out with your crew. Don't ask too much questions, don't be a hassle to them. But by all means, keep talking to them every day. Because I was at this company and I sort of thought, if I avoid the manager and I don't give him any hassles, then he'll like that. And if you avoid them too much, then they don't really know what's up with you, and they can't keep in the loop with you. And if you got someone at your company who's jealous or competing with you, they could be in his ear saying, oh yeah, Darwin's shit, or fucking Bob's shit, and does all this stuff, and you don't even know what's happening in the background, and you're wondering why you're not in the purple circle, or you're wondering why you're not getting jobs. It's because you're not in the loop with them. So every day I recommend talking to your manager and just seeing how things are with you and him and how you stand. Don't avoid him too much, but don't hassle him with questions, especially questions that you can work out with your own crew. But yeah, managers, man, make or break. I've had some shitty managers that I couldn't stand. You're like, how did they get the job? But they're in the job and you're not, so you have to deal with it. And one of the things too is with small companies and with big companies, and I'll lay it out like this. Small companies, you learn the most with smaller cranes. Small companies and small cranes, you're learning the most, because it's all the shitty jobs. It's all the under power line jobs. It's all the Rio bar. It's all the bricks, the scaffold. It's all the little getting lifts underneath roofs, into garages, shortening up, using spreader bars. Use spreader bars on the bigger cranes. But all those small crane town jobs is where you learn the most about picking loads and about shortening up and about how to do things, and everything's different. And you might have 4 or 5 days a job on 4 or 5 jobs a day in a small, in those small cranes like 50 tonners, 25 tonners, 25-ton slew cranes, 25 Katos or 25 Tadanos, 50-ton Tadanos. All those small cranes is when I learnt the most. So so don't try and pass that, because when you get to the bigger cranes and when you get to the bigger companies, it seems like they're just single lifts. And when you get to the bigger cranes, especially, everything's planned out for you. There's no thinking there. Everything's planned out for you, especially on the big cranes, on the 350s, the 500s. You've always got lift studies. You've always got a roadmap. Everything's planned out. You're just a monkey in the seat going, oh, up on the lever. You still got to know how to set it up, in the big cranes. But I must say, everything's planned out. You can't go wrong with it. Even down to your shackles, your slings you're using, everything's planned. You don't just rock up to those jobs like you do in like a 25-ton slow crane. Everything's planned. So you've got small cranes, all you're learning. You've got big cranes, cruisy, but no thinking. So eventually you want to get into the big cranes, because as you get older and as your body sort of, is not as fit and able as it used to be, those small cranes and small company jobs get a bit tiring, and you're like, oh man, I've got to do 50 pallets of whatever, like, man, this sucks. So choose your poison, man. I reckon start off with the smaller company. And I had this guy the other day saying he can't get a start. Don't see, just maybe bring it down a notch. Go find a small crane company with 5 or 6 cranes. Go there and say, look, man, I'll work hard. I'm a quick learner. I've got all my tickets. And you know who I'm talking to. You've been messaging me. You got all your tickets. So just say, look, I'm a quick learner. I don't have the experience. Please just take me on. I'll take any days you can. And just stick with it. Keep harassing them. Keep hounding them. People won't turn up. Some people go to other jobs and you'll get a spot. I'm just saying, keep turning up, man. Keep turning up. And if you start at a small company, it's the best learning with the smaller cranes. You'll learn everything you need to know on the smaller cranes, other than like big crane stuff, like how to put big counterweights on. But everything to lift management and shortening chains and reeving up, and all that can be learnt on the small cranes. It's just the size that changes, and maybe adding counterweights and a few things on the bigger cranes. So I think you need to do both. If you're getting older and you're hating this, and the work sucks, like it's just all that small crane stuff, I would recommend going to a bigger company. So a bigger company with a lot of money and a lot of people who can cover you. Because the thing with small companies, if they've only got 4 or 5 cranes, they usually got no backup. So taking sickies or having days off or having a long weekend off, you can't do it, man. And you're just expected to work every day. And there's no one there to cover you. And the boss doesn't want to cover for you. He doesn't want to jump in the seat. So it sucks, man. So, you need to move on to a bigger company with heaps of cash, heaps of employees, and things go better. And bigger cranes. When you jump up to the bigger cranes, things get way cruisier. And if you're in a big company, they've got the money there. So you can have days off. So you can relax a bit. And you get good work too. 1 or 2 lifts a day. If that's your cup of tea. You don't have to do that. But all I'm saying is, yeah. So managers, don't be a hassle, but don't stay too much out of the loop. Alright? You don't want to stay too much out of the loop. Small cranes, most learning. Big cranes, cruisy, but not, nothing too technical. It's all worked out for you. Small cranes hard, but most learning, you know. So it's, you know, so it's good to start off with the hard work, most learning, get your base in, get your apprenticeship years done in the cranes, and then when you move up, because that's why it's such a good career, cranes, because you start on the small stuff, or you start as a rigger, and you work your way up, and as you work your way up, things get better, so it's worth it, you know. It's like a fighter in the UFC. When you first start fighting, you suck. You keep getting punched in the nose, but you got to keep doing the reps, man. You got to keep pulling those levers. You got to keep doing those shitty jobs on construction sites where you're just getting flogged every day. But the work pays off. You get higher. You get your resume up. You get your years in. You can get other jobs. And then all of a sudden you're on the big cranes, the big jobs, the cruisy ones. The one day a lift. Everything's planned out for you. And then you move on to supervising where you're not even driving. And so the more harder you work and the more years you get under the belt, the easier your life becomes and the more you get paid. So it's a great industry. It's not like, some other industries where you're just the same person and the same grade, and anyone can just come in and be on the same money or the same experience as you. It's nothing like that. That's why cranes are so cool, man. I love them. I've always loved them. When I first seen my first crane, I was like, man, those are awesome. And back in the day, the size of cranes are so big, like a 50 tonner was huge to me. And now I look at a 50 now, I'm like, bro, that's like a small bus or something. A 500 tonner was huge to me, and now I look at it, it's still pretty big, but the size difference. But anyway, that's it. I just want to finish. We'll just have a look at a job I done. I found it on YouTube. So this is a job I done, some bridge beams. I'm in the crane on the left, on the 350, and my other mate's in the 500 here. So we'll take a look. I don't know if I'm allowed that music on. I guess I am. I'm not sure. Yeah, so that's it. Always going to say positive things about companies. That was Freo Cranes. Um, my manager was a really good guy, a guy called Mike Salenza. I don't know if he likes me talking about him, but always spoke to us like gentlemen, never raised his voice, always cool, calm, collected, and he's had people under him for 20 years, you know. He's had workers there for 20 years. There's guys there just a part of the furniture. And, and classic red flag, like I've said before, is that if there's only young guys at the company, one, it's shit money, and, two, it's bad conditions. And that place had heaps of old geezers there because the thing with old men is they don't put up with shit. And so if you see a few old men around, it's all right pay and it's all right conditions, and that's what it was. So that was a good job. I was in the 350. I skirted underneath the bridge and then helped set up uh, the 500 a bit. The 250 was on the other side. That used to be my main girl, the 250. So that was a good crane. Drove the 500 for several jobs. It wasn't my main crane, but when they needed someone who could do the shitty jobs in it, I was the man. But that's how you get in there, man. You know, someone's going to have a day off and you're going to be there. So you always put it in. I had to do 27 days in a row. I had to drive it all the way up north and all the way back. The trip was probably, I don't know, 2,000 Ks round trip, something like that. Yeah, huge. Like a 3 day trip up there. So 3 days on the road, 10-hour days. 3 days back with all these stops doing lifts on the way. So that was a real adventure. But anyway, man, this video's gone on for ages. Like these videos, subscribe here. Dell's Rigging and Crane Tips, a 2021 aayeayah. Don't give up on your dreams. Brothers of the Hook, aayeayah.